What percentage of your passengers tip? Are there tactics that you can utilize to improve the chances that a passenger will tip? What up, folks? Once again, it is your boy Tim with another ride sharing video. I drove the last few days. Lyft was offering an earnings guarantee, nothing significant. They were offering, I think, do 18 rides will guarantee you 200 and something bucks or something like that. Kept the rides really short, only took the rides that paid very little so that the earnings guarantee add-on would be significant. So I was out there, but while I was driving, it came to my attention that very few passengers were tipping. So I wanted to come talk to the folks, come talk to some of my veteran drivers out here and ask the question, what percentage of your passengers tip? And if you have a high percentage, I believe the studies have shown that around 3 out of 10 passengers tip, something like that. Obviously, it varies market to market. If you're in a heavy tourist area, you're more likely to get tipped than in a poor blue-collar area. You live in West Virginia, ain't nobody tipping you shit. So wanted to find out what percentage of your passengers tip. And for my drivers that do get tips, say from 50% of their passengers or more, because you're always going to have that person that goes, well, everybody that rides with me tips. Talking to you specifically. What do you do to increase the likelihood a passenger will tip? Like I said, in my case, probably 30%, 20 to 30% is somewhere around a realistic number for yours truly. If I were to do 100 rides, yeah, it probably would be 20 to 30 of those people would tip. Sometimes less, occasionally a little bit more, but generally 20 to 30% is where I tend to fall. So I want to talk to you folks out there who believe that quite a few of your passengers tip. This is not just for yours truly, but for folks who are watching the video who also very infrequently receive tips, and newer drivers that are entering the market, because at the end of the day, we don't get paid a lot. So tips are very important in this business. Do you have signs in your vehicle? I have tried that before in years past. I did have some success. If you ask yours truly, I do believe that. I've driven older cars. I've driven newer cars. I've driven smaller cars. I have driven larger cars. I don't believe that makes a big difference in my market. If you're out in Los Angeles somewhere driving around in a brand new Tesla as opposed to a beat up Prius, it might make more of a difference. That depends on how much disparity of wealth is in your area and the financial means of the customers jumping in your vehicle. Also, I hate to say it like this, but I've heard it often and I'm going to echo it here. Being an African American, black people don't tip. Black people don't tip. That is a very common moniker. I hear it from a hell of a lot of drivers, and based on my own personal analysis, I believe there's some validity to that. I've driven in a few markets, St. Louis, been up to Minneapolis, Chicago. I've driven in a few markets. I do not see a lot of tipping from African Americans, minorities. Now, we can debate, we can discuss what reasons that may be behind that. Poverty, maybe how they were brought up, maybe how we were brought up and things like that. We can talk about that, but that doesn't just translate to the ride sharing business. I think we have that reputation across the board, whether it is in, delivering services to your house or plumbing and things like that, DoorDash, Instacart, even in restaurants, we have that reputation. It is very unfortunate. But yeah, black people don't tip. What about other communities? Do you see a specific group of people? And I'm willing to engage in any conversation here. Nothing's off limits. White people, Hispanics, Asians. Do you see a specific group of people that are more likely to tip you? What about rich versus poor? Now, obviously, living in poverty, you have to count and treat every dollar you have as if it might be your last. So I would assume poverty plays a part. But a lot of passengers do not realize, because the amount of tipping we get is so low, because the amount that the trips pay are so low, $1 would make a significant difference to tip a driver. Here's a good example. Let's say I do 100 trips and 20 of those passengers tip. I'd rather for each passenger to simply tip me $1. Because I believe if every passenger tipped you $1 over the course of your trips, you would make more than having one infrequent passenger tip you $5 here or there. I would rather have every passenger tip $1. I do believe it would be more money in that. Nevertheless, maybe you see something different in your market. But are there specific groups that you feel are more likely to tip? Blue collar worker versus the guy who gets in a business suit. My personal analysis from what I've seen, people who work in industries that live off tipping are more likely to do it in your vehicle. I've picked up strippers that tipped. I've picked up chicks from Applebee's and Chili's that tip because they know the value of being tipped and the issue with working for a low salary where tips are a necessity. They understand. The businessman in the suit tends to think you get paid enough already. And there are too many people out here who believe going above and beyond is simply doing your job. I get pushback because I got a lot of passengers that watch my videos as well. And when I do videos on tipping, passengers often will state in the video, why should we tip you for doing your job? Let me be clear to you as a veteran driver, been driving since 2014 off and on. Anytime we get out the car, we're doing something that is a courtesy to you. Getting out of the vehicle is not part of our job description. I can pop the trunk and let your ass load your own stuff into the vehicle. Anytime we get out of the car, whether it is to walk an old lady to her porch steps, to help somebody take groceries to their house, to help somebody put a car seat in the car for their kids, whatever we do, if we get out of the car, it is going above and beyond our job description. For my veteran drivers out there, when you go above and beyond the job, getting out of the vehicle to do something for a passenger, do you see a increased likelihood of them tipping? I don't. And that's why if you pay attention to some of the previous videos, for those who follow me, you've noticed that I draw a hard line on what I suggest you do for passengers. That's not coming out of a vacuum. That's not just because I'm some sort of asshole on social media. It came from experience. I've seen too many passengers not only allow you or ask you to do things that are above and beyond, many of them are entitled and actually expected. Some of them barely say thank you. Very few of them actually tip. I helped a lady carry, 10, 15 bags of groceries up 3 flights of stairs. Barely said thank you. No tipping. And do not come to us with that, well, I'll tip you in the app. Drivers out there, how many of your passengers, when they say I'm going to tip you through the app, how comfortable you feel that that's actually going to happen? About 90% in my analysis, when they say that, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. But I'll tip you through the app. What does that mean to you as a driver when you hear it? Nevertheless, I just wanted to come to you guys with this video because I drove and I'm just like, how the hell do folks claiming they get 50, 60, 70% of their passengers to tip? What are they doing to make that happen? So I'm talking to you folks that are watching the video, those who get a lot of tips, the ones who are the top receivers, top tipper, top receiver. I want to know from you folks, what are you doing to get that level of tips? Who the hell is in your market? What's getting in your car that's tipping you that much? It is your boy Tim with another ride sharing video. As always, subscribe to the channel and I'll see you in the next one.